nation's success depends on the health of its people. With strong, healthy citizens, communities prosper and nations thrive. One of the best ways to ensure good health is with proper nutrition and food security. However, in many places this is still a challenge. Today, an estimated 800 million people across the world are chronically undernourished. This means that 1 in 9 people do not have enough to eat. And in sub-Saharan Africa, it's 1 in 4. Globally, malnutrition contributes to the deaths of more than 3 million children each year. That's about half of all childhood deaths. Malnutrition also contributes to both infectious and chronic diseases. Chronic diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure and heart disease, which are all very costly to treat. And for nations, malnutrition can inflict severe economic consequences. In India alone, one study estimates that the effects of malnutrition can result in up to $2.3 billion in lost wages annually. But making the right investments to boost nutrition can help individuals, families, and communities in countless ways. Good nutrition can improve physical growth and intellectual development, which means better academic performance during childhood and adolescence. This can lead to greater productivity in the labor force during adulthood, increasing household wages and lifting families out of poverty. Smart investments in nutrition could ultimately lead to a rise in GDP by as much as 11% each year in Asia and Africa. There are many different ways to improve nutrition. While we usually think of interventions like vitamin supplementation or growing crops with higher nutritional content, there are other ways. One often overlooked approach is voluntary family planning, which is typically known for its benefits to reproductive health. But it is also vital for good nutrition. Family planning improves nutrition on 2 levels: for the household, and on a larger scale for entire communities, even nations. For families, it lets women avoid unintended pregnancies and better prepare for motherhood, giving babies a chance for a healthier life. For communities and nations, voluntary family planning can improve food security by slowing population growth, which in turn helps ensure that people have stable access to enough nutritious food. Together, these benefits to nutrition can accelerate economic development for nations and make lives better. As we look around our 21st century world, we can see that many things are different from how they were in the past. We communicate in different ways. We work in different ways. And we live in communities that look quite different from what our ancestors knew. One important change is our new preference when it comes to family size. Today, most couples around the world want fewer children than their parents or grandparents did. But in reality, these desires are often not met. In Malawi, for example, couples on average would like to have 4 children, but they actually have 6. Globally, as many as 4 out of 10 pregnancies are unplanned. This is largely due to unmet need for family planning, meaning when women would like to either avoid or delay a pregnancy but are not using a modern method of contraception. Today, about 225 million women worldwide have an unmet need for family planning. In several countries, especially in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, more than 1/4 of women in their reproductive years have unmet need. And it is also still a problem in other parts of the world, like Latin America and the Caribbean. Women with unmet need tend to be the most marginalized. They are more likely to be poor, live in remote areas, lack education, and suffer from food insecurity. When countries reduce unmet need, they help women and couples have the number of children they want at the right time for them. Let's now look at a home and see how family planning improves nutrition from infancy through adulthood. A baby's nutritional health is influenced by many factors. An important one is how soon the baby was conceived after the mother's last pregnancy. The latest international guidelines recommend waiting at least 2 years after having a child before trying to become pregnant again. Research shows that babies conceived within 6 months of a previous birth are much more likely to be low birth weight than those conceived within a 3 to 4 year interval. This puts closely spaced babies at risk of illness and death. And even if they do survive, infants who are conceived too soon after another pregnancy are much more likely to be stunted or too short for their age when they get older. These stunted children do not grow as well physically or intellectually, preventing them from living up to their full potential. With well-spaced births, a mother's body can rest and replenish essential vitamins and minerals that were used during pregnancy and breastfeeding. This can help ensure they are as healthy as possible when raising their families. Good spacing also gives mothers more time, energy, and resources for recommended feeding practices, like exclusive breastfeeding during the first 6 months of life, and gradually switching to nutritious, solid foods starting after 6 months. For adolescent girls, family planning delays pregnancy beyond this crucial time of growth, when they gain much of their adult body height and weight. Because they're growing faster than at any time besides their first year of life, adolescents need more protein, iron, and other micronutrients. This puts them at risk for malnutrition, which is quite common among adolescent girls in many countries where mothers tend to give birth at a young age. In Niger and Mali, parts of the Sahel region of Africa where malnutrition persists, about half of women have had a child by age 18. When young girls are already malnourished, pregnancy can have an even more severe effect on their growth and nutritional status. Pregnancy can create competition for nutrients between the growing girl and her baby. As a result, pregnant girls can stop growing and may also suffer from conditions like anemia. Children born to adolescent mothers also suffer. One study from over 50 low- and middle-income countries compared babies of adolescent mothers to those of mothers in their late 20s. It showed that children of adolescent mothers face a significantly higher risk of being stunted, underweight, or anemic. By delaying pregnancy to an age when they are both physically and emotionally prepared for motherhood, adolescents can create better health outcomes for their children in the future. And once they are ready, couples can use family planning to have the number of children they want and better invest limited resources in ensuring good nutrition for their families. With smaller families, women also have the opportunity to pursue more education and work outside the home. This leads to increased income and decision-making power. Research shows that when women are more educated and have greater control of household resources, they are better able to feed their children the right amounts and types of healthy food. Now let's look at a community to see how family planning helps increase food security. Improving food security means ensuring that people have stable access to enough nutritious food. This remains a great challenge for many reasons, including quickly rising populations that increase food demand, shifting diets that include more meat, inefficiencies in food storage and distribution, and climate change, which is expected to worsen agricultural yields and pose new problems to farmers. When it comes to quickly rising populations, one of the key drivers is the high number of unplanned pregnancies that result from unmet need for family planning. Based on current birth rates, the world's population is projected to increase by 2.5 billion people by 2050, and will likely continue growing. Global food production would have to increase by 70% in order to feed everyone. Many agricultural interventions and investments will be needed to improve food security. Voluntary family planning can also play an important role. Helping women have the number of children they want slows population growth, and in turn reduces strains on agricultural resources. In many places, good farmland is already limited. And quickly rising populations can add more strains due to urbanization and development. Food security is also affected by shrinking plot sizes on farms, as land is further and further divided among successive generations. This reduces the amount of food or cash crops that can be produced to sustain households and communities. In Nigeria, the amount of agricultural land available per person has been declining dramatically. It is projected that by 2025, people will have 1/5 of the land they did in 1960. When agricultural land is limited, this can also lead to farming practices such as planting too many crops or having animals graze too much in one place. These practices can degrade the quality of soil. And with limited land available, farmers may be forced to use plots that are not very suitable for growing food. This limits food productivity as well as quality. Slowing population growth can ease pressure on our land and make existing farms more fruitful. It can also influence access to and consumption of nutritious food. When there is not enough food to meet the needs of a rapidly growing population, it causes food prices to rise. This poses a challenge for poor urban families who may already spend 60% or more of their income on food. It also makes it difficult for poor rural families who generally have the smallest farms with low crop yields and little other income to buy nutritious food. By slowing down population growth, a country can help ensure there will be food available for everyone at an affordable price. Women in developing countries perform on average 43% of agricultural labour. This is a significant contribution. Unplanned pregnancies limit their agricultural productivity due to time and energy spent in pregnancy, breastfeeding and childcare. When women farmers use family planning to have the number of children they want, they can spend more time providing farm labour and supervision, learning new techniques, and contributing to food production. And on a larger scale, voluntary family planning and its effect on population growth can help build resilience and offset some of the negative impacts of climate change on food security. A simulation model for Ethiopia predicts that by 2050, increased temperatures and changing rainfall patterns as a result of climate change will have cut the amount of food available per person by about 350 calories per day, or half an average plate of rice, fish and vegetables. But if Ethiopians continue increasing their use of voluntary family planning, the resulting slowdown in population growth would mean that they could have the same amount of food then as they do today, despite the negative impact of climate change on agriculture. Looking back at our household and communities, the evidence is clear. When it comes to improving nutrition and food security, family planning is critical for success. In the household, family planning improves nutrition in many ways. By helping women have the number of children they want at the right time for them, it can ensure that infants and children have good nutrition from the start, give young girls the chance to fully develop, allow mothers to optimize their own health and nutrition, and empower parents to feed their families in the best possible ways. For communities, voluntary family planning results in smaller families, slowing population growth. This, in turn, can improve food security by helping to reduce strains on agriculture, improve access to affordable quality food, allow women to contribute more to food production, and offset some of the effects of climate change on food supplies. To reach these goals, we need to do more. With supportive voices like yours, we can improve political commitment and investments to develop new programs that would benefit health, nutrition and food security. So what can you do to make these changes a reality? You can raise awareness about how family planning can improve food security and nutrition. You can work together with colleagues across sectors such as health, nutrition and agriculture to integrate family planning within strategies to improve nutrition and food security. and you can advocate for more funding for family planning within a range of nutrition and food security policies and programs. With a foundation in good nutrition and food security, citizens everywhere can enjoy a healthier life, from infancy to adulthood, and help nations build a brighter and more prosperous future.